All right, everyone, welcome back for another episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Friday, October 18th, 2024. If you've not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. Again, we're still on sale here. We've got discounts all across the board, site-wide. Great time to take advantage of it. October is a great month for trading. Anyways, let's get into it today. So markets today, it is options X for the month of October. So we are kind of pinned right now, right? We just kind of gapped up and just kind of a lazy float higher, but not really breaking out of range, right? We're still inside of that big reversal bar from yesterday. And then look at the Qs, right? 493.50 to 495.50, just a 2-point little box there, right? Bigger stories today, Netflix. Again, I talked about this extensively, but there's some good stuff here. Yesterday, I noticed that, I brought this up I was talking to my partners about this, and I said, look, their market's not hedged for a move here on Netflix at all. In fact, you can see this is just reflecting the whole chain here. They were looking for 700 just to pin, and I think it closed at like 690 yesterday. They didn't even have an option written for the strike of 750. 750 is just a 10% move from where we closed yesterday. And Netflix is historically a stock that can move 15-20% on earnings. So if they blow out and they have a great quarter like they did, you can see this big move. And I did not play it directly, but I did use NQ. And, we did get a nice gain out of that in the trading room. Easy 100 points. But in any case, I'm doing a video about this tomorrow. It's already recorded, ready to go. Here's the difference. I mentioned this yesterday, right? Multiple times. And so much so at pre-market, 9 a.m. on the dot yesterday. If Nvidia was going to trend today, it shouldn't be gapping below the high, right? It should be an impulse, right? If it's that strong, if we're going to break out, and everybody's cheerleading, and everybody was definitely cheerleading Nvidia yesterday. If it's that strong, what's another dollar to gap it up, right? I mean, if it's impulsive, it shouldn't gap below, and that's probably a sign that it was going to fail. Netflix, yeah, it definitely gapped above, right? That showed the impulse there. That's why Netflix trended. That and the market wasn't hedged, but that impulse helped. Video tomorrow is really about gapping and just specific gap plays. Couple of tips and techniques in there. But in any case, here, markets, what can you say? We're, 58, 50 area. We didn't trend. I said yesterday we would likely either trend today or we'd do nothing, and we've done nothing. So I don't really see downside here. They do want to go up and get 5,900. They've been trying to do that here, but we've been kind of weighted down a little bit. We just haven't been able to break out. Could we see some weakness with kind of OPEX rolling off next week? It's possible. Definitely not impossible, but that's also, the Bears have had windows to do damage, the last 3 or 4 times, and they've done nothing, right? We have not had more than a single red day or 2 red days in a row since September 6th. It's been a long time here. And it leads me to believe here, like, are we going to get to a point here where we're just going to run away? A la kind of like December 28, 2017. Seeing what small caps are doing, and a lot of those names running. I don't worry though. The Fed tells us that financial conditions are tight, even though we have stocks like this one that are running on complete air, up just like 8,000% in like 2 days. But in any case, bottom line, 5,900 is resistance for right now. That's it. And I mean, they're probably going to, I would say 57.50, but I mean, you got to even get through 5,800 first, and then we can talk about these trend lines and so on. But bottom line is Bears have to do something. Like, until they show something, we have to have, a high volume sell, a reversal, on heavy volume, an outside move, and then follow through. So until one of those things happen, I'm not even going to entertain downside levels. And who knows, maybe me saying that means that we're going to just gap down on Monday, but and that's fine if it does. If you want to play short, you don't have to front run the top tick. So it gets a lot of people in trouble. So anyway, market's hanging in there. I'm interested to see how we trade the last 2 weeks leading up to the election here. Qs here up 72 basis points. It does seem like they want to test 500. They're very close to all-time highs too. You know, it wouldn't take much to get there. We do have, you know, more earnings coming up next week as well. So there's your potential catalysts. Russell, again, fractionally lower, but, you know, this is threatening with a breakout. And a lot of like small caps, tiny names, beaten up names have been running lately. So this could be setting up, could be getting ready here. Diamond, flat to positive. Nothing terrible with that. It's just fine. SMH up 11 cents. Again, I think there's still a real big chase going on in some of these chips. And I don't know if that's a good thing. I think that people are trying to, they're looking to play this possible melt up here and they're trying to pick chips. I don't think chips are where you want to be. I've said previously in the tech area, cloud is better. And again, I still think biotech's attractive too. But I think just based on the euphoria that I saw yesterday morning, the memes and like everything that was going on when Nvidia was gapping up like a couple points, but not even above the high, it tells me there was a lot of people trying to pile into chips and front run a breakout. So I think other sectors can do better. And again, you know, just in general in the long term, like I said previously, the chances of you getting another 10x out of Nvidia are slim to none. The chances of you getting a 10x out of Palo Alto is much higher. Or a 10x out of CrowdStrike, right? ServiceNow, right? Some of these other, you know, maybe an ARM, that one's, you know, that's one chip stock that's different. But these ones that are bloated, Broadcom, you know, Nvidia, TSM, why chase those when you have other areas of opportunity? That's my 2 cents. Anyway, Dow Transport's here. See, they were flattish today. We went up and hit that big level, that master resistance. But take a look. We finally got our weekly close above this 16.3 area. So we got through the minor one, and now it's to the major one. We did back off of that. You know, maybe one more dip here, but I think that's it. The writing's on the wall here. And everything, like, again, like a lot of things that are, there's just a lot of things looking like this. Like they're getting ready to break out. IWM, XPI I just showed. IGV just broke out, right? You know. So, and it does feel like we could be close to some type of a melt, you know, legit melt up, where everything melts up. So bears need to do something. 2-year, again, just flagging. So it popped, went up to 4.1, just flagging there. 5s, 10s, 30s, same thing. They continue to base, they can go higher. So I don't know if that's going to help or hurt the market. The market is acting like it doesn't care what bonds are doing, doesn't care what the dollar's doing right now either, and that's a market that can get crazy. So when it throws everything out the window, that's when, you know, you get these dramatic moves. But XHB up 1%, new weekly all-time closing high. Nothing else needs to be said. VNQ, you know, good bounce off of 94. Now it's trying to flag here. So next level, if we can get through that, is, I mean, you got to pivot right up here at like 102.50. XLF, still very strong. Down just a penny right now. We'll see if it closes positive or not. It doesn't really matter. Little stretched here short term, but again, banks healthy market. ARE coming in, but still at a new 52-week closing high. Same for KBE. And of course, broker dealers, everybody knows that's going to close at all-time highs. Speaking of banking too, I talked about this last night on Twitter. I don't know if there's anything to be made out of it, but credit spreads, high yield credit spreads are the lowest since the summer of 07. On one hand, that's very bullish. On the other hand, typically credit spreads don't crash from the midline, they crash from an extreme. 2007, obviously a significant time. Just some food for thought there. At some point, you know, if things get too tight and we melt up too much, yeah, that's what happens. You're going to get that. We will get an unwind. But I think there's, you know, definite scenario here for a melt up that would lead to a meltdown. That's why I've been kind of like, okay, like, can we get a pullback here in this market? Because that's actually the healthier thing rather than just straight up. But anyways, I digress. Oil here today down 1.7. It's interesting, very strange. It did not follow through that three tails yesterday. It's still holding up though on the futures, and I just drew in this trend line. We had a contract roll today too. A lot of the times things get wacky on that first day, but I still like it in here. I think the lows are in. Yeah, they might try to push it down into the election, but they weren't able to do that the last month, so we'll see. We'll see if it holds this trend line here. But I don't think oil's terrible, and in fact, if it dips more, I just like it even more. So XLE dipped today as well, but finished off the lows. So that pattern's kind of sloppy. It needs to firm up a little bit more, as does the XOP, but trying to work on a higher low now. And OIH a little bit weaker. So this has been the weak one. Let's see, that might want to go test 270 again. We'll see. CCJ continuing to be on fire. New weekly closing. Oh, that's an all-time. So new all-time closing high. I thought that was just multi-year. No, CCJ all-time high. Congrats, Bulls. URNM very strong. We'll see if it'll close above yesterday's high. It's right there right now. Doesn't have to, but certainly would be a sign of strength. This pivot still, I think, is a big weekly level to close above. Uranium very strong, and it's got strong fundamentals backing it. URNJ, same look. So into a pivot there. Still pretty good. Nat gas, again, another hemorrhage. I'm going to use the continuous just because there's no point in looking at the X right now. I mean, I guess this doesn't even matter either, does it? We could use the, let me just use the back adjusted. Bear with me 1 second. Yeah, this is way better. So, yeah, 220 maybe even a slice of 220. But even then, it's nat gas. It's you know, so it could easily go a lot lower. I think this will probably start to bottom for a bounce, probably like around the contract roll. So it could even hemorrhage all the way until then. I'm a little surprised it didn't put in a higher low though. I do think it will get a bounce in November, and a pretty good one at that. But phew, big slice down, and that's what nat gas does. Dollar finally had a red day, a real red day. So 200 MA, that held. All right, we went straight into that with no pullback. Usually it's going to hold. Again, resistance level right here as well. That was previously a weekly inside bar. So major point of control there. And gold, new all-time high, new all-time closing high. There's two areas here. We talked about this in the live stream last night, actually. There's two areas I would look for maybe gold to pull back. One would be right now, after OPEX, so next week. Or this will just pump into the election, and I think around the election, that's where it'll correct. These are just theories. Don't take that as trading advice. Silver, new multi-year highs, new multi-year weekly closing highs. 35 is your next level. I'm going to give the upside bias to like 40 though, because we have consolidated for 4 months now. Silver on breakout. Let's look at the miners too. GDX, SIL, confirming. Very nice. Platinum starting to creep back up above yesterday's high. Nice action. And then my favorite, as you guys know, palladium breaking out of this little wedge here. Still doesn't have the higher high yet, but I like that little breakout. And the weekly full inside bar is getting ready to go. Again, this is the big catch-up play. But from a value standpoint, I mean, not bad. Copper green today. Still kind of sideways though, still inside of this red here. Would have preferred to see it follow through a little bit more off that bounce. I liked the candle yesterday. We'll see if it can follow through. Past that, we'll look at like 450 area. That was kind of where we broke down from before. So that's resistance. And then, yeah, if you break back below 425, I'd get a little concerned. But overall, not terrible. Bitcoin. So here you are, 69. 68.9 was high of the day. We'll see if it pulls back over the weekend or it just stalls here. Again, I've said previously, I don't think 69 holds it for very long, but we are going straight into it, and you know, we're going into the weekend, less liquidity. We'll see. Been talking about this pattern for a long time. In fact, I predicted this exact pattern back in March and April when I did Twitter Spaces with crypto fundamentals. We talked about, hey, if we just back off for 6-7 months, we'll be able to pump into the end of the year. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months. So bull flag, it's creeping up. I would still be a buyer on a dip for now. Looks good. So anyway, spiders market fine, no problems here. I would like a pullback. I think that would be healthy. I just don't know if they'll allow it. I don't know if they have the stomach for it. I also think a lot of people are front running it. There's a lot of volatility being bought, a lot of hedges being bought, you know, for the election, and that, you know, if we don't have actual downside realized, you know, that just acts as more fuel. So I think that's part of what's happening too. So, but anyways, we'll see what we get next week. Anyways, I'll wrap it up here. You guys take care. Don't forget to come find me on carnivoretrades.com. See you guys all on Monday.